So I just got back from the pho shop near my house, and this is everything that they gave me. Soup, veggies, and I got the meatball pho because that's my favorite, and it's time to assemble everything. Woohoo! Noodles and meat in there. Put some cilantro, and I'm gonna put onions. I like bean sprouts, but I usually like mine a little bit more cooked rather than raw, so I think I might microwave these for a little bit. Okay, my bean sprouts are microwaved. Now I have my soup, and then I'm gonna pour it in there, add some sriracha and hoisin sauce and lime, and I think we'll be good to go. Yeah, that tiny little wedge of lime was not enough for me. I had to cut my own lime. I like my pho super limey. Yay! Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Nicole, aka Nictrick, and this week on Nictrick's Nosh, we have pho and college advice on the menu. So, I haven't eaten anything all day, so I'm super starved, and this bowl is massive. I just ordered it from a place close to my house. I live in Koreatown, so this is not authentic pho, sadly. But it's still really good. It's like one of my favorite places around here for pho when I need that pho fix. So today, I think you guys wanted me to answer some college questions. So I'll be going through those as I eat. I'm gonna be eating first because I'm hungry. I got the meatball pho because that's like my favorite thing ever. So good. Okay. Let's go to answering some questions now. Gosh, you guys asked a lot of questions this week, which is really great. I don't know if I'll be able to get through to all of them, but I'm gonna try. First question is, how do you support yourself financially while at college if your parents can't cover for you in that regard? I can't speak on my own behalf because I was very blessed with loving parents who could afford my college education, so they paid for all of my college pretty much. I had some student loans, but they were all under my dad's name, and he's still paying them for me now as I'm trying to build my career. But I do know of a lot of my friends who did work study, or they just did school part-time, and they took a little bit longer to graduate, but you know what, like in the end, like a degree is a degree, and so whatever works for you. If you have to work part-time and then go to school part-time, honestly, 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, it doesn't really matter, like as long as you graduate and you get that degree and you get that college experience, I don't think it really matters. But yeah, I'm sorry I can't impart more wisdom on that because like I said, I was very blessed growing up. My parents always take care of everything. question is, how do you focus on studying? What is your most effective study method? So I remember in college, I was a crammer, like a heavy crammer. Probably didn't help that I was an English major also. So a lot of the time, I just had to show up to class, pay attention, and do the readings, and I would usually be fine on my exams. But I guess the most effective studying method for me was pressuring myself, like putting myself under pressure, because I work better and I study better under pressure. So I would, set a deadline for myself. Let's say like I wanted to go out with friends or something. I'd be like, okay, I have to finish reading like 10 chapters or however like so many things I had to do before I could go out, and I wouldn't go out. I'd like punish myself. I wouldn't go out if I didn't finish. But honestly, like I was just a crammer in college, which is really bad. I know that the advice I should be giving you guys is to study little by little every single day, because that's what, works the best and helps you retain information a little bit better. But yeah, the most effective thing was putting myself under pressure, because that's just how I am. I'm sniffling. I think I put too much sriracha in my pho. It's okay. Next question. How do you stay motivated when you're taking general ed classes and you have no interest in them, but you have to take them in order to get to your major? Oh my goodness. I feel you 100% on this. Honestly, it's something that everybody has to go through, and a good way to motivate yourself is to always try to find something that's interesting about the class. I'm pretty sure no matter what class you're required to take for general ed, there's gotta be something like sort of interesting about it. Like for example, I was an English major, so I care a lot more about books, poetry, writing, and anything that's a little bit more free form. And like I was really good at writing essays. So when I took classes like stats and astronomy and geology, I had no interest in them, but I motivated myself by engaging, like when you're taking a class that is in a subject that interests you less, you have to kind of force yourself to engage with the material. Otherwise, if you're kind of zoning out, you can kind of zone out in like your major classes just because it's something that is close to you and you would probably be spending a lot of time with it and with that kind of material at home on your own anyways. But for classes where you're not really interested in the topic, you kind of have to force yourself to be engaged. Participate in class. But yeah, I think a lot of it's just sheer willpower. Motivating yourself is really hard, I know, and I guess a good way is also make friends in the class, create study groups. That way, getting through the material per quarter or per semester will be way easier than just going at it alone and having to deal with material that you're not really interested in. So yeah, group activities are great, and motivate yourself. Always find something interesting about the class. I think there's always something interesting, but I like learning, so, but shouldn't we all if we're going to college? I think we should. question is, what was the hardest thing about college, and what did you love about it? So the hardest thing for me about college was feeling like I had no sense of direction. Yes, I'd originally come into college thinking that I was going to be a film major, but after taking a couple film classes, I realized that the film program at the school I was at wasn't what I wanted it to be. It was more theoretical than hands-on filmmaking. And so I switched to English because that was something that I always was good at, but at the same time I just felt like I didn't know what I was doing, and the hardest thing is freaking out about like, what am I doing? Am I going to be able to make money with this major? Am I going to be able to support myself? I think all of the sheer pressure of just figuring out that like 4 years is not a long enough time for you to figure out what you want to do for the rest of your life. I think that was the hardest part about college for me. But once you get through it and you're out, it's honestly, I don't know, I feel like it wasn't that hard to figure out what I wanted to do afterwards. But yeah, when you're in there and then you see some people who have structure and a specific goal in mind already, especially in the sciences, it makes it really hard when you're a liberal arts major, because you're like, oh my god, like what? I have like a million different things in my head, and there's a million different paths that I could take, but no one's there to really tell you what to do, and you kind of just have to figure it out yourself. But the one thing I did really love about college was the social aspect. Not only in dorms, but even when everyone lived in apartments, you most likely had friends living in the same apartment complex or the complex across the street, and everyone was really close together, especially where I went. It was a college town, and so it was really easy to meet people and see people all the time. You saw people in class, you took classes with friends, and I really missed the whole social aspect of college. Now that I'm out, I have to really make an effort to stay connected to my friends, or the few friends that I do want to put out the effort to see. Yeah, that's something that you're gonna learn really quickly, is that like after college, nobody really has time anymore. Everyone's busy with work, with further education, just busy with life stuff, adulting. And so you have to really make an effort to keep people in your life. And when people give you that time, be really, really appreciative of it, because time is so valuable nowadays. And if someone is willing to give you their time just to catch up with you or say, hey, what's up, and check up on you, that means a lot. It means that they really do care and they do want to put out the effort. Yeah. Next question. How did you study for the SAT or ACT? How many colleges did you apply to? What did your parents think when you chose to pursue film? Super loaded question. I'm gonna break it down. How did I study for the SAT? So my dad purchased a CD, and it was I think it was one of those softwares that had those training questions, so I did a little bit each day. I admittedly did not study for the SAT as hard as I should have. I was kind of I did pretty well in high school, so I kind of just cruised by thinking that I could just take the SAT and not really have to study for it, which is bad. I'm telling you guys now, study. Get into after-school programs, take extra classes, and if you get those extra study materials like softwares and books and flashcards, use them. Those resources are there for a reason, and especially if your parents are providing them to you, you should be appreciative of that effort on their behalf. So yeah, I would say actually spend a little bit of time studying day by day. I think for my friends in high school, flashcards worked really well. So you could always do that. Flashcards are great. Yeah, it'll just open up a whole another world of opportunities for you, especially if you have a dream school in mind or something, to study and do well on the SATs. For me, I kind of just, I cruised. I was a great student, like, academically in high school, but I was kind of a slacker, so don't follow in my footsteps, guys. Next part. How many colleges did you apply to? I applied to only 4. Mainly because I went to a really small private school, and what had happened for our school was that they guaranteed UC Davis, the college I ended up going to, had guaranteed the top 10% of my class at my school, guaranteed admission. And so I was just banking on UC Davis to be my backup school in case I didn't get into any of the other 3 universities that I applied to. So I applied to, I think it was UCLA, UC San Diego, and UC Berkeley. And I didn't get into any of them. I got waitlisted for San Diego, and UCLA was my dream school because it was close to home and they had a film program and everything. And so I got waitlisted for UCSD, but they didn't have a film program. And at that time, I was like, I definitely want to go to college for film, so no. So I ended up going to UC Davis. But yeah, I only applied to 4. What did my parents think when I chose to pursue film? Honestly, in the beginning, of course, every parent wants their child to grow up and be stable and be able to provide for themselves. And a career like entertainment or film is very tricky to navigate, and especially with older people, like, I'm not saying my parents are old, like my grandparents and like the older generations, it's hard for them to understand like what exactly you can even do in film to make money besides directing or writing a film or being an actress. And so they were just worried that I wouldn't be able to provide for myself. But my dad came here as an immigrant and he worked his butt off to be where he is today, and that's why he made it such a big deal that I would be able to pursue whatever I wanted, and in order to be happy in life. And I'm so grateful to him every single day of my life. I wake up, if it wasn't for him and if it wasn't for my mom doing what they did to get as financially stable as they are now, I wouldn't be able to be pursuing things like YouTube and Instagram and filmmaking and writing. And so so in the beginning they were a little bit iffy, and the more I started to attain skills and acquire connections and produce things that were tangible products of my interest, my parents were a little bit less and less worried about my future in film. So I think that was the driving factor for me in college, is always trying to prove people wrong or to prove that I can do it. And I think that's such a huge deal for a lot of fields, actually. Just prove, if for no one else, for yourself. Prove to yourself that you can do it. Yeah, okay, I'm gonna eat some more. This is so noms, guys. Also, if you're wondering why I don't eat the soup, or I'm not eating the soup, it's because I've actually never eaten the soup of my pho. I think ever since I was a kid. And then it just became a habit, and I don't eat the soup of my pho ever. I just eat all the noodles and the meat, and then I just don't drink the soup. It's kind of wasteful. I wish I didn't do that, but I don't know. I don't know why I do that. I think it's also partially because, like, a lot of times store-bought pho has so much MSG in the broth that, like, it just scares me to drink it. Can you guys tell how satisfied I am? I decided to go running today. I ran 3 miles. I haven't run in a really long time, so now I'm super tired. And I got home from the gym and I was so hungry. I was like, I need to go get pho right now. I need to get right now. Oh, halfway down with my bowl. You guys see that? More questions. Do you think it's better to be in a sorority, fraternity, or make friends on your own? I honestly want to say that during my time in college, I didn't join a sorority or fraternity at all. I feel like you are better able to discover yourself when you are making friends on your own and joining all these different other organizations like hobby groups or cultural groups. You can find a lot of friends that way. But I do know a lot of people where joining a sorority or fraternity really helped them, especially if it's a career-based sorority or fraternity, like a business frat or something like that. They give you a lot of tips on how to break into your career and how to do well in interviews and stuff like that. So I think that's really beneficial too. But socially, I think that making friends on your own is awesome. And all the friends that I've made from college are from totally different groups, different walks of life. And I think I really love that about like my circles, is that I have one person from here and a person from there and another person from here, and I get all these perspectives all the time, and they're all different, and it helps me kind of open up my own mind a little bit more instead of getting tunneled into one way of thinking or hive mentality. And you guys will probably hear me harp on about this. I could go on forever about hive mentality, but I really dislike when an entire group thinks one thing and then everybody in that group has to feel that way or have the same sentiment. I just think that, yeah, without the restrictions of a sorority or fraternity on you, you'll be able to explore yourself a little bit better. Sure, if you're in a sorority or fraternity, you're always going to have friends, you're always going to have a support group, and you're always going to have a network, but I think that a lot of it is very superficial, and it's hard to stay in contact with those massive amounts of people when you graduate. So I don't regret not being in a sorority at all. I'm very happy that I stayed in touch with all the people that I met in college. I still talk to them today, even like if it's just a text, like, hey, what's up, how you been? But I think that's what's important to me, is that I spent the time to find quality people that I really care about, you know? Whereas being in a fraternity or a sorority, I feel like sometimes you're forced to care about a lot of people that you may not really like or really want to care about. So yeah. I'm almost done, guys. Okay, I'm gonna answer a few more quick questions before I finish, before I completely kill this bowl of pho. What would you recommend for relieving stress and stuff when it comes to studying? For me, gymming was a really big stress reliever. I would hit up the gym because when you're a student, usually at a university, you get free access to their gym, and it's awesome. Do not take that for granted, you guys. Please go to the gym as much as you can, even if it's just for a stroll, like around the track or a little jog on the treadmill. It really helps, release endorphins, and it makes you feel good, and it kind of helps you kind of just let everything go. I remember, I think at my school they even offered like classes, like dance classes and stuff like that. So definitely the gym. Be physical. Be active. Did you dorm or commute, and how was your experience with it? I dormed because Davis is like 7 hours away from LA, which is where my parents live and where I lived in high school. So I dormed, and it was so much fun. Dorming is so much fun, you guys. If you have the option, dorm. You make so many friends that you might not be so close with after your first year, but it honestly just ties in the entire college experience if you can dorm. It's just those first few weeks, first few months of feeling really independent and grown up, because you can stay up as late as you want, you can go out whenever, you can eat whatever you want, and you can hang out with whoever. And I think that was like a really fun part for me. Whenever I think of college, I think of those first like 2-3 weeks where I had no idea what time it was, never knew what day it was. And it wasn't even like I was partying that hard or anything. It was just like I would be staying up so late, hanging out with all my dorm mates or people who were just who lived near me. But the funny thing about my dorm experience is that I didn't have a actual dorm experience. It was because when I came in as a freshman, they had run out of dorms for freshmen, and so they only had space in the apartments next to the dorms, where they usually put the junior transfers. And so me and maybe, a handful of other freshmen ended up living in those transfer apartments. But that group of freshmen that I hung out with that first few weeks, it was so much fun. We stayed up, we would watch scary movies like every single night. We would go out, we would go gym together, we'd eat together. It was so fun. It was a really nice change of pace, and it was also really good because I was worried I would be so homesick. Being that far away from my parents, I'd never really been away from my parents ever, and growing up as an only child, I was so close to them, and I was scared that I'd be so homesick. But having such awesome company around 24/7, it made it kind of hard to be homesick, even though I still was a little bit homesick at heart. Let's see. How was your dating life like in college, and how did you deal with any unexpected crushes, if you had any? Dating life in college. I had crushes on a few people, but so one of them was a friend in the group that I hung out with within those first few weeks of college, and it was just weird because we didn't want to make things in the group weird, so we didn't really ever do anything about it. But I'm usually the type that's pretty forward, so if I like someone, I'll just straight up tell them. Or I'll be like, hey, do you like me? Can we do something about this? Do you want to go out? I guess I'm just that type of girl. Either that, or I'll just make it obvious enough that I have those type of feelings for them until they ask me. But yeah, I had a crush on maybe 1 or 2 people, and then I met someone who I ended up dating for the rest of my time in college for 3.5 years. So yeah, I can't really say too much on the whole dating thing in college, but yeah, dating someone for that long really was an interesting experience. I ended up kind of growing up with that person and then sort of outgrowing that person a little bit, which is why we ended up breaking up after I graduated. But yeah, dating in college is fun, guys. It's a good way to kind of get your feet wet in the whole dating world. You're on your own, you kind of need to make your own decisions about people, and you get to figure out what you like, what you don't like. But I must say that don't jump into relationships just because all of your friends are getting into relationships. Don't jump into one unless you feel like that person is right for you. Don't trap yourself. And yeah, definitely use college to explore your sexuality, your romantic preferences. Don't just go with what everyone else is doing. Yeah, do you, boo-boo. I'm almost done. I'm getting really full. And that's all the questions that I'm going to answer for today, guys. Okay. Well, I want to say thank you so much for tuning in this week to Nictrick's Nosh again. Let me know what you guys thought. I'm sorry if it seems like my advice wasn't so great. College is kind of a rocky time for everybody, and I think you guys will be able to relate to that as you go through college yourselves. But I try to answer everything to the best of my ability, and I want you guys to have a good time and to explore yourselves and find yourselves in college. So yeah, if anything ever comes up, you can just snap message me. I respond to a lot of people on Snapchat. So if you ever have questions or need help with anything, snap message me and I'll try to respond to you in as timely a manner as possible, especially if you have any questions about boys, about classes, about stuff like that. I would love to chat with you guys, and I think it just helps when there's a little bit more personal context to your questions, and I'll be able to give better advice that way. But I have so much fun filming these weekly mukbangs for you. That's something I learned this week. You learn something new every single day, I swear. So last time, I think I called it a mukbang, and my Korean friend, thank you, senpai, corrected me and said it was more of, pronounced more like mukbang. So yeah, now I'm not gonna mispronounce it anymore. Or I could just keep calling it Nictrick's Nosh and never mention the word again. Stop embarrassing myself. Maybe we'll go with that. But yeah, drop a comment, leave a like, tell me if you guys want to keep seeing these videos. I really like filming them for you guys. I love talking to you guys. And yeah, tell me what you want to see next week, and let me know what you want me to eat, and let me know what you want me to chit-chat about. Okay? Love you guys. I love you so much. Thank you for tuning in, and subscribe and share with your friends and everything. I love you. I love you. Mwah.